You are literally swamped with work and personal responsibilities, projects, stacks of magazines to read, and piles of books you intend to get to one of these days as soon as you get caught up. But the fact is that you will never get far enough ahead to be able to get to all those books, magazines, and leisure time activities that you dream of. No matter how many personal productivity techniques you master, there will always be more to do than you can ever accomplish in the time you have available to you. You can get control of your time and your life only by changing the way you think. You can get control of your tasks and activities only to the degree that you stop doing some things and start spending more time on the few activities that can really make a difference in your life. When you learn these methods and techniques and apply them over and over until they become habits, you will alter the course of your life in a very positive way. Throughout my career, I have found a simple truth. The ability to concentrate single-mindedly on your most important task, to do it well, and to finish it completely, is the key to great success, achievement, respect, status, and happiness in life. If you're like most people today, you are overwhelmed with too much to do and too little time. Because of this, you will never be able to do everything you have to do. You will always be behind in some of your tasks and responsibilities, and probably in many of them, perhaps more than ever before. Your ability to select your most important task at each moment, and then to start on that task and get it done both quickly and well, will probably have more of an impact on your success than any other quality or skill you can develop. It's been said for many years that if the first thing you do each morning is to eat a live frog, you can then go through the day with the satisfaction of knowing that is probably the worst thing that's going to happen to you all day long. Your frog is your biggest, most important task. It's the one you're most likely to procrastinate on if you don't do something about it right now. If you have to eat 2 frogs, eat the ugliest one first. This is another way of saying that if you have 2 important tasks, strike with the biggest, hardest, and most difficult task first. Continually remind yourself that one of the most important decisions you make each day is your choice of what you will do immediately and what you will do later, if you do it at all. The key to reaching high levels of performance and productivity is for you to develop a lifelong habit of tackling your major task first thing each morning. Successful, effective people are those who launch directly into their major tasks and then discipline themselves to work steadily and single-mindedly until those tasks are complete. In our world, you are paid for making a valuable contribution, and especially for making the contribution that is expected of you. Failure to execute is one of the biggest problems in organizations today. They talk continually, hold endless meetings, and make wonderful plans, but in the final analysis, no one does the job and gets the results required. Fully 95% of your success in life and work will be determined by the kinds of habits that you develop over time. The habit of setting priorities, overcoming procrastination, and getting on with your most important task is learnable through practice and repetition over and over again until it locks into your subconscious mind and becomes a permanent part of your behavior. You are designed mentally and emotionally in such a way that task completion gives you a positive feeling whenever you complete a task of any size or importance. One of the keys to living a wonderful life, having a successful career, and feeling terrific about yourself is for you to develop the habit of starting and finishing important jobs. Practice is the key to mastering any new skill. With practice, you can learn any behavior or develop any habit that you consider either desirable or necessary. You need 3 qualities to develop the habits of focus and concentration, which are all learnable. First, make a decision to develop the habit of task completion. Second, discipline yourself to practice the principles you're about to learn until you master them. And finally, back everything you do with determination until the habit is locked in and becomes a permanent part of your personality. Now, there's a special way that you can accelerate your progress toward becoming highly productive. See yourself as the kind of person who gets important jobs done quickly and well on a consistent basis. Visualize yourself as the person you intend to be. As professional speaker Jim Cathcart says, the person you see is the person you will be. When you train yourself through repetition and practice to overcome procrastination and get your most important task completed quickly, you will move yourself onto the fast track in your life and career and step on the accelerator. Clarity is the most important concept in personal productivity. The more clear you are about what it is you want and what you have to do to achieve it, the easier it is for you to overcome procrastination. Eat your frog and get on with the completion of the task. A major reason for procrastination and lack of motivation is vagueness and confusion about what you are supposed to do. Here's a great rule for success. Think on paper. Only about 3% of adults have clear written goals. These people accomplish 5 and 10 times as much as people of equal or better education and ability, but who, for whatever reason, have never taken the time to write out exactly what it is they want. There's a powerful formula for setting and achieving goals that you can use for the rest of your life. It consists of 7 simple steps. Here it is. Step number 1. Decide exactly what you want. Either decide for yourself or sit down with your boss and discuss your goals and objectives until you are crystal clear about exactly what is expected of you and in what order of priority. Step number 2. Write it down. When you write down your goal, you crystallize it and give it tangible form. On the other hand, a goal or objective that's not in writing is merely a wish or a fantasy. Unwritten goals lead to confusion, vagueness, misdirection, and numerous mistakes. Step number 3. Set a deadline on your goal. Without a definite deadline accompanied by the assignment or acceptance of specific responsibilities for completion, you will naturally procrastinate and get very little done. Step number 4. Make a list of everything that you can think of that you're going to have to do to achieve your goal. A list gives you a visual picture of the larger task or objective. It dramatically increases the likelihood that you will achieve your goal as you have defined it and on schedule. Step number 5. Organize the list into a plan. Take a few minutes to decide what you need to do first and what you can do later. Decide what has to be done before something else and what needs to be done afterwards. With a written goal and an organized plan of action, you will be far more productive and efficient than someone who is carrying his goals around in his mind. Step number 6. Take action on your plan immediately. For you to achieve any kind of success, execution is everything. And finally, step number 7. Resolve to do something every single day that moves you towards your major goal. Read a specific number of pages on a key subject. Call on a specific number of prospects or customers. Engage in a specific period of physical exercise. Learn a certain number of new words in a foreign language. This decision, this discipline alone, can make you one of the most productive and successful people of your generation. Clear written goals have a wonderful effect on your thinking. The bigger your goals and the clearer they are, the more excited you become about achieving them. Think about your goals and review them daily. Every morning when you begin, take action on the most important task you can accomplish to achieve your most important goal at the moment. Now here's what you can do to put this idea into action immediately. Take a clean sheet of paper right now and make a list of 10 goals that you want to accomplish in the next year. Use the present tense, positive and first person so that they are immediately accepted by your subconscious mind. For example, you would write, I earn X number of dollars per year. Then go back over your list of 10 goals and select the one goal that, if you achieved it, would have the greatest positive impact on your life. This exercise alone could change your life if you had a major purpose you wanted to do, the people that could help you do it, and then have the sufficient phase to keep you going while you did it. Don't you see that would be about all you would need? You need personal initiative. You need the imagination. You need enthusiasm. This philosophy is something like baking a cake. And if you took out any one of those ingredients, you wouldn't have the same kind of cake. You can't leave out any one of these 17 principles. It'd be just like taking a link out of a chain. And these are the 14 principles supporting these 3. Faith is a state of mind that has been called the mainspring of the soul, through which one's aims, desires, plans, and purposes may be translated into their physical or financial equivalent. Now, when you speak of applied faith, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about something vastly different from just mere belief. That's the action part of things, and there are a lot of people you know who believe in things, but they don't do anything about them. 2 fundamentals of faith are, first of all, definiteness of purpose supported by personal initiative and action. Action, 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 but more action the better. Next, a positive mind free from all negatives such as fear and hatred, jealousy and greed. A positive mental attitude determines the effect of this update. And next, a mastermind alliance with one or more people who radiate courage based on faith and are suited mentally and spiritually to one's needs in carrying out a given purpose. And next, recognition of the fact that every adversity carries with it the seed of an equivalent benefit, and temporary defeat is not failure until it has been accepted as such. Do you know where the majority of people fall down in connection with their application of their faith? It's while they're depleted and they accept that defeat as being something that can't do anything about. They become discouraged, they build up inferiority complexes instead of reversing that order and using that defeat as nothing more than temporary and making another effort. And next, the habit of affirming one's definite major purpose in the form of a prayer at least once daily. Now, the subconscious mind only knows what you tell it. It doesn't know the difference between a lie and the truth. It doesn't know the difference between a penny and $1 million. And if you send over predominating thoughts on poverty and ill health and failure, that's exactly what you'll get. And it's necessary for you to affirm over and over again these objects that you are going to obtain in life until you educate your subconscious mind to attract automatically to you the things that are related to what you're aiming to attain in life. That the individual you that is a minute expression of this intelligence, and as such you, the individual. And if I had ever wavered for 1 second from the time that I started with Mr. Carnegie up until the time I gave this philosophy to the world, if I had wavered 1 second in my belief that I would do it, I would never have done it. Do you have any idea what was the strongest part in what I've achieved? I am no more brilliant than the average person, no more intelligent than the average person. But there was something in there that was responsible for. In other words, I believed I could do it, and I never stopped believing it. And I want to tell you that if you can take that attitude towards yourself, if you can throw yourself over on the side of yourself when you're overtaken by adversity, if you can stand by and not also go over against yourself, then you're using up like faith, and you've got to do that. Have you ever thought of that? Nobody is permitted to attain a high state in life and stay there without being tested, any more than anybody is allowed to go into a well-managed business and go up to a high position and stay there. Without even being tested with lower positions, I don't know how the Creator runs His business entirely, but I can definitely see that He allows nobody to attain a higher state in life without giving him severe tests. The men of great achievement in all walks of life back through the ages were great only in proportion as they had been defeated and as they had met with opposition. Couldn't have been a coincidence that every one of these outstanding men was great in proportion exactly as he had been small and as he had been opposed and as he had had to struggle. Anything you want to do, no matter what you call it, we're all talking about one, the first girl. There's only one. There's one first cause that's responsible for this great universe we're living in. I call it the infinite intelligence. And the infinite intelligence happens to be a sort of a neutral, in-between term that nobody can object to. Nobody at all. Unless you can absolutely put down on paper evidence that there is a first cause that you can draw on. Why then, you are not going to be able to make the foolish use of applied food while there's more evidence of a first cause. And there isn't anything that I know of my new part of that intelligence expressing through your brain. The only limitations are those which you set up in your own mind or permit somebody to set up there or circumstances to establish for you. Next, careful inventory of your past defeats and adversities from which it becomes obvious that all such experiences do carry the seed of an equivalent benefit, never a defeat. Every failure carries with it the seed of an equivalent benefit. Wouldn't mean a thing in the world to you unless you examine enough illustrations in your own experience. You see that it always works out that way. That's why I want you to examine these adversities that come to you. Do you know that oftentimes your adversities are your greatest blessings? And I want to tell you that without some Clint and major adversities I've gone through, I would never been able to approve the soundness of this philosophy, and that there is a seed of an equivalent benefit in every aversion. There will be things that happen to you in the future that are unpleasant, and maybe some to me too. But I tell you what I'm going to do when anything unpleasant happens to me. I'm going to immediately transmute it into something pleasant. A self-respect expressed through harmony with one's own conscience is certainly an important factor in applied faith. You don't have to ask anybody what's right or wrong. Your own conscience tells you, unless you convert it into a conspirator instead of a cooperator by choking it off and not responding to it, as so many people do, your conscience can be not only a guide, but it can also be corrupted towards a conspirator. It'll help you cover up your meanness. If that weren't true, there couldn't be so many fruits loose in the world that they concocting plans for starting bigger and better wars. They have no conscience. They've killed off the conscience. That conscience is a marvelous thing. And next, to create a mental attitude favorable for the express. First of all, know what you want and determine what you have to give in return for it. Know what you want in life. And I learned not only in your major purpose, but in your minor persons. What kind of house do you want to live in? What kind of car do you want to drive? What kind of wardrobe do you want? What kind of presents are you going to buy your wife for a birthday? I know it's the little things in your life that make the difference between the half of this and unhappiness. And next, when you affirm the object of your desires through prayer, let your imagination see yourself already in possession of the thing that you're going at. And that's the best salesmanship in the world, when you grow up to sell a person an idea or a merchandise or a service. If you know positively that you're going to give him his money's worth and more, dude, before you stop, it does something to you. The neighbors do something to him that enables him to do that in return. Do something for you. If you want your prayers to be effective, don't wait until the time of need to utter them. Build up the habit of a prayer when you don't need anything. Wouldn't it be an interesting thing if I gave you a less assignment right now to write down before the night before you go to bed tonight everything that you have in this world to be thankful for? You know, you may have a lot of things you don't want, but you have a lot of things you do want. Write down on this 7 and express gratitude that you have these things that you like. And then start by expressing gratitude every night and every day. Keep your mind open for guidance from within. Yes, hunches. You'll get hunches. Treat them with civility. Examine them. And you may find that some of these very unusual hunches that you come are bringing you messages that you need to get you over the hump and whatever it is that you're doing. And when you are inspired by hunches to move on some plan created by your imagination, accept the plan and act upon it once. And remember always that there can be no such state of mind as faith without appropriate action. And when overtaken by defeat, as you may be many times, remember that man's faith is tested many times, and your defeat may be only one of your testing times. We all go through that testing time, and the ones that survive these tips can come out on top with an abiding faith, are the ones that become truly great in life. Any negative state of mind will destroy the power of faith and result in a negative climax. Your state of mind is everything. That's the only thing you have control over. Your education, your background, your nationality, your creed has nothing whatsoever to do with your ability to achieve. It's the state of mind that you maintain. For me, that's the most profound thing in all of the knowledge of mankind. The most profound of all of us is the fact that the homeless person can take possession of his own mind. Just the change of his mental attitude changes from success to failure almost instantly. A burning desire is the sort of material of which faith is created. There are a lot of desires in the world, but they're not burning desires, and they're not obsessional as ours. And most people in their whole life never express or never experience an obsessional desire for anything. We wish for everybody to have a lot of money without having to work for it. I'll say wish for things. Wish for the Cadillac when they're driving it forward. And if you want a Cadillac car and you make up your mind to have it, get out and see that the men under you or the job that you're holding and see that you put into it, in this will imply to either Cadillac car. You have to weld them with a burning desire, and then you have to do some action. You've got to start right where you stand with action. Now here's a lot of examples of men who have achieved. There is one down here that I particularly want to call your attention to, that of Miss Helen Keller, who believed that she would learn to talk, despite the fact that she had lost the use of her speech, her sight, and her hearing. And yet, did you know, of course you do know, that Helen Keller became one of the best educated women in the world, and all she has to go by is the vibration. I think with a woman with a handicap of that kind, all the way through life, getting joy out of life, rendering useful service, making speeches, if you have faith, keep your mind on that which you want, and not on that which you do not want. How does one go about keeping his mind on all for the things he doesn't want? The way you keep your mind off of things you don't want is to transfer your mind over to things you do want and start talking about them. Start giving thanks for already possessing them. Won't sound silly to you because you know what you're doing. You're talking to your subconscious mind. You're re-educating yourself. You're keeping your mind fixed on things you want and off the things you don't want. And if you ever feel blue or discouraged or lacking in courage, I'll tell you a good remedy for them. May I sit down and take a tablet and start my rings? Number 1, the thing that you want most in life. Number 2, the thing that you want next month. Number 3, the thing you want next moment. Describe the look that you want it on, whether you want to own a lot of acreage on top of the hill or down below the road or above the road. How many rooms you want that house to have, how you want each room furnished. Do a little mental winter shopping, and believe you me, you'll get it. You'll get your mind over that looting issue. Get it onto something that's constructed. Start right in doing something physically, writing down the things that you want. When anything bothers you, a lot of things that I can see have a lot of advantages I can use that I don't understand, but I don't need to understand them. I know which button to press to get the result I want, and I don't need to know what happens between the pressing of that button and the result that happens. How would I know? You suppose that any person can actually make life pay off point by point on his own terms instead of accepting the circumstances? There's only one way in this world that I could possibly know that, and that's by my own experiences, or can't get easily, that if you go back just a few years ago, what an astounding statement it is, because it's so broadly in contrast to what I might have said a few years back before I learned the secret of getting everything that I want. You must have a definite objective, a purpose, a goal before you can have faith in anything. Faith is a middle attitude wherein the mind is cleared of all fears and doubts and directed toward the attainment of something definite through the inspiration of infinite intelligence. Faith's not going to go out and get you that Cadillac or that mean coat or that new house that you want or that better job or that better business with all those clients that you need if you're a professional. But faith will guide you as to how you can do it. And then you find that there is always a part that you misplaced. And if infinite intelligence is very wisely provided, a system whereby you can be sure of getting your food out of the soil of the earth, how by complying with the laws of nature. You go out there and you plant the seed. You plant it in soil that you have examined to make sure it has the elements in there that you want into the plant. You plant it at the right season. You plant it at the right depth in the ground. All of those things you do by way of going the extra mile, you do them in advance and you comply with nature's law. So that's what you do. You do your part. Faith will do nothing for you if you expect everything to be done for you outside of yourself. When faith, probably, my little notice, that word, probably down there, why do you think I say faith probably works through the subconscious section of the mind? I'll tell you why I put it there, because nobody knows definitively whether it does or not. It appears to work through the subconscious section of the mind. The subconscious acting as the gateway between the conscious section of the mind and infinite intelligence. My picture. Another picture of what happens when you pray properly is that your first condition, your mind, you know what it is you want, and then you transfer over to your subconscious mind a clear picture. The only way you can reach into infinite intelligence in my book of rooms. Now, the definite essential steps in the development of self-reliance based on faith. I'm going to call your attention to the most important ones. First of all, you adopt a major purpose to begin at once to attain it. You know, when you know what you want and you're starting to get it, you have a measure of self-reliance, or you're demonstrating a measure of self-reliance, because if you didn't believe in yourself, you wouldn't even begin, would you? The very fact that you start, even though you're a long way from attaining the thing you're going after, shows that you have a measure or a degree of self-reliance, and the more you pursue that idea, the stronger that belief will be. The next, associate as many as possible of the 9 basic motives with the object of the definite major purposes. You've had this experience that you wanted something very badly, and in order to get to something that you want, a very bad material something, it meant extra money that you couldn't lay your hands on. You didn't have it in the bank. You weren't earning it. Write out a list of all the advantages of your definite major purpose and call these into your minds many times daily. And it's the same thing with reference success. If you accept any kind of a fear complex or an inferiority complex, If you don't expect success of yourself and develop a success expectation or consciousness, you're not going to be a success. You just have to do that. If your major purpose is to achieve some material thing or money, see yourself already in possession of it. And if your faith isn't great enough that you can see the thing already in your possession even before you start to get it, then you're not making use of applied things. Associate with people who are burning sympathy with you and your major purpose, and lead them to encourage you in every way possible. Don't disclose your aims and purposes to people who are not absolutely dependable, loyal, and close to you, especially loyal. But it's surprising how sometimes the people to whom you disclose your ideas, if they're good ideas, they go around the corner and beat you to the draw. And they're using your ideas before you use them, or they're saying something to discourage you. Don't let a single day pass without making at least one definite move towards the achievement of your major purpose. Your mental attitude is the sum total of your thoughts at a given time. A positive mental attitude has its roots in the spiritual wills of one's soul. Mental attitude is the medium by which adversities may be transmuted into benefits. You'll find some of those that appeal to you more than others. Make them your own. Surround yourself with suggestions everywhere you look. You'll see something that suggests a positive mental attitude. You'll notice when you go into the office of a successful person or into the home of a successful person, if you can find these, then another place where he himself withdraws unto himself, you will find that oftentimes he has himself surrounded with pictures of those whom he considers great. Oftentimes he'll have mottos on the walls. I've seen hundreds of them. I walked into my friend Jennings Randolph's office when he was in Congress in Washington. I found he had all of the walls of his congressional office covered with the pictures of men whom he considered great. He did that to live in the environment of the great, in the environment of things that kept his mind positive. Start in where you are, in your home, in your business, in your office, and wherever you stay the most, starting there to put up something that will give you a positive thought. Just before you go to bed, be surprised at how much good it'll do you. Alan Laken once said that planning is bringing the future into the present so that you can do something about it right now. Your mind, your ability to think, plan, and decide is your most powerful tool for overcoming procrastination and increasing your productivity. Conversely, as Alex McKenzie wrote, action without planning is the cause of every failure. Your ability to plan well in advance of acting is a measure of your overall competence. The better the plan you have, the easier it is for you to overcome procrastination. The good news is that it takes only about 10 or 12 minutes for you to plan out your day. But this small investment of time will save you at least 2 hours, 100 to 120 minutes in wasted time and diffuse effort throughout the day. When you consider how helpful planning can be in increasing your productivity and performance, planning is really quite simple to do. But all you need is a piece of paper and a pen. You can increase your productivity and output by 25% or more from the very first day that you begin working consistently from a list. Make your list the night before at the end of the workday. Your subconscious mind works on your list all night long while you sleep. You will wake up with great ideas and insights that you can use to get your job done faster and better than you had initially thought. Now, you need different lists for different purposes. First, you should create a master list on which you write down everything that you can think of that you want to do sometime in the future. Second, you should have a monthly list that you make up at the end of the month for the month ahead. Third, you should have a weekly list where you plan your entire week in advance. This disciplined, systematic time planning can be very helpful to you. You should transfer items from your monthly and weekly list onto your daily list. As you work through the day, tick off the items on your list as you complete them. Seeing yourself working progressively through your list motivates and energizes you. It raises your self-esteem, self-respect. Steady, visible progress propels you forward and helps you to overcome procrastination. When you have a project of any kind, begin by making a list of every step that you will have to complete to finish the project from beginning to end. Organize the project task by priority and sequence. Then go to work on one task at a time. You will feel more and more effective and powerful. You will be naturally motivated to do even more. You will think better and more creatively. You will get more and better insights that enable you to do your work even faster. This feeling of progress will give you more energy and keep you going throughout the day. One of the most important rules of personal effectiveness is the 10-90 rule. This rule says that the first 10% of time that you spend planning and organizing your work before you begin will save you as much as 90% of the time in getting the job done. Your ability to set goals and make plans for their accomplishment is the master skill of success. There's no other skill that will help you more in fulfilling your potential and achieving everything that you are able to accomplish. All major accomplishments today are called multitask jobs. They consist of a series of steps that must be taken in a particular way in order to accomplish a result of any significance. Even something as simple as preparing a dish in the kitchen with a recipe is a multitask job. Your ability to master the skill of planning and completing multitask jobs will enable you to accomplish vastly more than the average person and is critical to your success. The purpose of planning is to enable you to turn your major, definite purpose into a planned multitask project with specific steps, a beginning, a middle, and an end, with clear deadlines and sub-deadlines. This is a skill that you can learn and master with practice. This skill will make you one of the most effective and influential people in your business or organization. And the more you practice it, the better at it you will get. All the ingredients necessary to create a plan for the achievement of one or more of your goals. First, you now have a clear vision of your ideal end result or goal based on your values. You know what you want and why you want it. Second, you have written out your goals, organized them by key as your priority, and selected your major definite purpose. Third, you have created measures and standards to track your progress, and you have set both deadlines and sub-deadlines as targets to aim at. Fourth, you have now identified the key obstacles, difficulties, and constraints that stand between you and your goal and organized them by priority. Fifth, you've identified the essential knowledge and skills that you will require to achieve your goal. Sixth, you have organized these competencies by priority and developed a plan to learn what you need to learn to accomplish what you have decided to accomplish. And seventh, you have identified the people, groups, and organizations whose help and cooperation you will require, both inside and outside your business. You have decided on the specific steps you're going to take to earn the support and assistance of these people in achieving your goals. All successful people work from written plans. The great achievements of mankind, from the building of the pyramids forward to the great industrial operations of the modern age, were all preceded by and accompanied by detailed plans, carefully designed and thought through from beginning to end before they began. Every minute spent in planning saves 10 minutes in execution. Every minute that you spend planning and thinking before you begin will save you time, money, and energy in getting the results you desire. This is why it is said that failing to plan is planning to fail. The number one reason for failure is action without planning. There's a 6P formula for personal and business success. Proper prior planning prevents poor performance. There are 7 advantages to proper prior planning. First, the planning process forces you to organize your thinking and identify all the key issues that must be dealt with if you're ultimately going to be successful. Second, thinking through what you must do to accomplish your goals enables you to plan your actions carefully before you begin, thereby saving you an enormous cost of time, people, and money. Third, a good plan, thoroughly discussed and evaluated, enables you to identify flaws and errors that could prove fatal to your business later on. The fourth benefit is that it enables you to identify weaknesses in your plan and make provisions to compensate for those weaknesses. Often you can identify a fatal flaw that, if you are not aware of it, could lead to the failure of the enterprise. This is only possible by going through the planning process. Fifth, planning enables you to identify strengths and potential opportunities that you can take advantage of to increase the likelihood of success. Often you will be unaware of your particular strengths or the opportunities that exist in this situation before you go through the planning process. The sixth benefit is that it enables you to focus your time and money and concentrate all of your resources on the one or two objectives that you must achieve to make the enterprise successful. In the absence of clear focus and concentration, you will tend to spread your energies over a wide area and end up accomplishing very little. The seventh benefit is that it will inevitably save you hours, weeks, and months of confusion, mistakes, and losses of both money and energy. Planning is a discipline and a skill. It is both a habit and a competence. This means that you can learn it and learn them to a high level through repetition and practice. Planning is a skill that you can master, and it is much easier than you might think. A plan is a list of every activity that you will have to engage in from the beginning to the end in accomplishing a specific goal or objective. To begin the process of planning, you take a sheet of paper and you make a list of everything that you can think of that you will have to do to achieve your goal. This list then becomes your blueprint for the construction of your dream house, of your ideal goal or result. The process of planning is for you now to organize your list by priority and sequence. You organize the items on your list by priority by determining which tasks or activities are more important than other tasks or activities in sequencing. You determine which activities need to be done before or after other activities. In planning, very often the success of the plan will be determined by the achievement of a particular goal or objective within the plan. The planning process helps you to identify the vital elements of the plan and focus more of your time and attention on the most important tasks and activities that must be accomplished before success is possible. No plan is perfect the first time it is created. Most plans to accomplish something new will fail over and over again at the beginning. Whenever your plan doesn't work, relax, take a deep breath, and revisit your plan. When you have a problem, resolve to be solution-oriented. Expect difficulties as a part of the process and resolve to respond to them effectively. If you're not achieving your goals on schedule, ask, what is the problem? It seems that when you begin work on the achievement of a new goal, you immediately experience setbacks, obstacles, difficulties, and temporary failure. It's normal and natural. It takes tremendous effort to launch something new and make it successful. But this is the price that you have to pay to achieve the goals that you've set for yourself. One of the ways that you can think on paper is to create a project planning sheet for the accomplishment of a multitask goal. This project planning sheet can be very helpful in opening your eyes to the strengths and weaknesses of the planning process. But with a project planning sheet, which you can make yourself with a sheet of paper, you can now see your entire goal laid out in front of you with great clarity. Everyone who is responsible for carrying out a part of the plan should be involved in the planning process. It's often a shock to find out that something that seems simple and easy is actually going to take several weeks or months from beginning to end. A time constraint on a critical part of your plan can force you to revise your plans completely. When you start the planning process, your biggest concern should be accuracy in identifying every step necessary and the exact time required to accomplish every step in the plan. In the process of planning, there is usually one major problem that must be solved before any other problems can be solved. There's usually one major goal that must be achieved before any of the other goals can be achieved. There's usually one critical element in the plan that must be dealt with before any part of the plan can be successful. The good news is that the very act of planning improves and streamlines the entire process of goal achievement. The more often and more carefully you plan before you begin, the better you will get at the planning process overall. Your ability to decide exactly what you want, write it down, make a plan, and then execute that plan is the key to personal effectiveness and high achievement. In no time at all, you can transform your life or business, double your sales or profitability, achieve your goals, and fulfill your true potential. Now, here are 3 things you can do immediately to put these ideas into action. First, make a list of everything that you can think of that you will have to do to achieve your goal. Leave nothing out. Second, organize your list by priority. What is the most important task or activity? What is the second most important, and so on. And third, organize your list by sequence. What must be done before something else can be done? Revisit and revise your plan regularly, especially when you get new information or things are not going as you would expect. Be prepared to change if you need. Imagine for a moment that you're standing at a crossroads with two paths stretching out before you. One path leads to a future filled with purpose, success, and fulfillment, where you wake up every morning excited to tackle the day ahead. The other path, well, it's the path of least resistance, where days blend into weeks, months, and eventually years, leaving you feeling unfulfilled and wondering where all the time has gone. How many more years are you willing to let slip away without taking decisive action toward creating the life you truly desire? It's time to take control of your destiny and chart a course toward a future that fills you with excitement and purpose. But where do you begin? The answer lies in making a conscious decision to invest in yourself and your future. Visualize the life you desire, the person you want to become, and then take the first bold step toward making that vision a reality. Remember, the power to change your life lies within you. It's time to unleash that power and embark on a journey of self-discovery and transformation. Don't let another year slip away. Seize this moment, seize this opportunity, and watch as your life unfolds in ways you never thought possible. Think about your goals. The simple act of reflecting on your objectives makes you positive and purposeful. There's extensive psychological literature focused on the concept of the locus of control theory. In over 50 years of research, psychologists have determined that your personal locus of control is the determining factor of your happiness or unhappiness in life. And here's why. A person with an internal locus of control feels they have complete control over their life. They feel strong, secure, and powerful. Generally optimistic and positive, they feel fantastic about themselves and have a sense of being in charge of their own destiny. On the other hand, a person with an external locus of control feels they are being controlled by external factors like their boss, their debts, their marriage, childhood issues, and their current situation. They feel out of control and, as a result, experience weakness, anger, fear, negativity, hostility, and disempowerment. The good news is that there's a direct relationship between the amount of responsibility you accept and the amount of control you feel. The more you say, "I am responsible," the more you develop an internal locus of control, becoming more powerful and confident. There's also a direct relationship between responsibility and happiness. The more responsibility you accept, the happier you become. It seems that responsibility, control, and happiness go hand in hand. The more responsibility you accept, the more control you feel. And the more control you feel, the happier and more secure you become. When you feel positive and in control of your life, you'll set bigger and more challenging goals. Additionally, you'll have the motivation and determination to achieve them, feeling like you have your whole life in your hands and that you can shape it according to your decisions. The starting point for setting goals is realizing that you have virtually unlimited potential to be, do, or have anything you truly desire in life, as long as you want it enough and are willing to work for it. The second part of goal setting is accepting full responsibility for your life and everything that happens to you without blame or excuses. With these two concepts in mind, that you have unlimited potential and that you are completely responsible, you're ready to move on to the next step, which is to start designing your ideal. In over 3,300 studies conducted over the years on leaders, there's one special quality that stands out, a quality that all great leaders have in common, and that's the quality of vision. Leaders have vision, something non-leaders lack. I previously mentioned that the most important discovery in all of human history is that you become what you think about most of the time. So, what do leaders think about most of the time? The answer is that leaders think about the future, where they are going and what they can do to get there. We call this leadership quality future orientation. Leaders think about the future, what they want to achieve and where they want to get to eventually. They think about what they desire and what can be done to achieve it. The good news is that when you start thinking about your future, you start thinking like a leader, and soon you'll get the same results as leaders. In personal strategic planning, you should start with a long-term view of your life. You should practice idealization in everything you do. In the process of idealization, you create a 5-year fantasy for yourself and start thinking about how your life would look in 5 years if it were perfect in every aspect. The biggest obstacle to setting goals are the limiting beliefs you have about yourself. These are areas where you perceive yourself as limited in some way. You may believe you are inadequate or inferior in areas like intelligence, ability, talent, creativity, personality, or something else. As a result, you underestimate yourself, setting low goals that are well below what you're really capable of achieving. By combining idealization and future orientation, you cancel out or neutralize this limitation process. Imagine for a moment that you have no limitations at all. Imagine you have all the time, talent, and skills you could possibly need to achieve any goal you set for yourself. Imagine you have all the friends, contacts, and relationships you need to open any door and achieve anything you truly desire. Imagine you have no limitations on what you could be, have, or do in pursuing the goals that are really important to you. When you practice idealization and future orientation, you don't compromise your dreams and visions for yourself and your future. You don't settle for small goals or half successes. Instead, you dream big and mentally project yourself forward, as if you were one of the most powerful people in the universe. You create your perfect future, decide what you really want, before returning to the present moment, and dealing with what is possible for you within your current situation. So start with your business and career. Imagine your work life would be perfect in 5 years. Answer these questions. First, how would it look? Second, if your work life were perfect, what would you be doing? Third, where would you be doing it? Fourth, who would you be working with? Fifth, what level of responsibility would you have? Sixth, if you were at the top of your field, what skills would you have? Seventh, what goals would you be achieving? Eighth, what level of status would you have in your field if your career were perfect in the future? When you answer these questions, imagine you have no limits, that everything is possible for you, that you can write on a magical board whatever you desire, erase anything that has happened in the past, and create the image you want for your future. You have no limits. When you have clear and exciting goals, you'll feel happier with yourself and your world. You'll be more positive and optimistic, more joyful and enthusiastic. You'll feel internally motivated to get up and start each morning because every step you take will lead you in the direction of something that is important to you. Remember to think about your ideal future most of the time. Remember that the best days of your life are yet to come, and the happiest moments you'll experience are still ahead. The highest income you'll earn will materialize in the months and years to come. The future will be better than anything that has happened in your past. There are no limits. The clearer you can be about your long-term future, the more quickly you'll attract people and circumstances into your life to help make that future a reality. So here's what you should do to effectively apply the 80-20 rule to goal setting and your overall productivity. First, take a sheet of paper and write down 10 goals. Then ask yourself, if you could only achieve one of those goals today in 24 hours, which one would have the greatest positive impact on your life? This question is crucial for determining the top 20% of your goals that will help you more than anything else you do. Second, work on those goals you've chosen all the time. We often see people who seem to be busy all day, but achieve very little. This is almost always because they're busy working on low-value or worthless tasks, while procrastinating on the 1 or 2 activities that can really make a difference in their businesses and careers. The most valuable tasks you can do each day are usually the most difficult and complex ones, but the rewards for completing them can be tremendous and completely change your future. Before you start working, always ask yourself, if this task is in the top 20% of my activities, or is it in the top 80%? The rule here is simple. Resist the temptation to solve small things first. That's what kills you the most. We get so involved in small things, and those small things multiply. They become bigger and bigger. And at the end of the day, you're exhausted and you haven't achieved anything. If you choose to start your day working on low-value tasks, you'll soon develop the habit of always starting and working on low-value tasks. Imagine yourself as the horse tirelessly circling a wheel, expending energy, but making no progress forward. This analogy perfectly captures the plight of those who lack clear, compelling goals in their lives. Now consider a recent study that delved into the attitudes of rich versus poor. individuals when it comes to goal setting? Astonishingly, it revealed that a staggering 85% of wealthy individuals harbor ambitious goals that they actively pursue, while a mere 3% of those with limited financial means possess such aspirations and dedicate little effort to them. So, if your aspiration is to attain financial prosperity, it's imperative to emulate the habits of the affluent. Select a substantial goal and relentlessly devote yourself to its attainment. Doing so has the power to revolutionize your life in ways you never imagined. Before I conclude, allow me to impart a profound insight to share with your peers. When your objectives are crystal clear, the universe conspires to align the perfect solutions with the precise moment of need. Each of us harbors lofty aspirations, some of which may seem unattainable at times. Yet, with a well-crafted plan, nothing is beyond reach. Developing a strategic approach to conquering formidable goals can be the linchpin of your success. To assist you in surmounting any obstacles that may arise, I've curated a compendium of top-tier strategies for achieving audacious objectives, irrespective of your current circumstances. First and foremost, it's crucial to adopt the principles of smart goal setting. Not all goals are created equal, and it takes a strategic and intelligent approach to achieve challenging goals. Smart goals are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Specifically for challenging goals, the word achievable is incredibly important. While it's crucial to step out of your comfort zone, if your goal isn't achievable from the outset, you're setting yourself up for failure. If you feel like your goal has a high probability of failure, it might just be too ambitious. This brings me to the next piece of advice. Break down your goal into manageable tasks, what we call chunking tasks. This helps you keep your goals moving and achieve them step by step. Remember the old question of how to eat an elephant? The answer is, one bite at a time. The same goes for big goals. Remember that every step you take brings you closer to achieving your goals, and each step motivates you to take the next one. Even though they may not seem monumental at the moment, all these daily tasks add up to incredible achievements. My third piece of advice for reaching challenging goals is to set specific milestones. They can help keep you motivated in any situation, whether you're searching for a new job, keeping motivation in school, or reaching a new financial goal. By creating and celebrating milestones along the way, when you check off a task from your to-do list, no matter how small, it's a victory that brings you one step closer to your goals. Celebrate your small successes along the way, whether it's taking some time off, spending time with loved ones, or simply reflecting on your latest achievement. These moments of reflection on your hard work help you remember your why, your big picture plan. The fourth and my personal favorite piece of advice is, eat that frog. Mark Twain said that if the first thing you do every morning is eat a live frog, you can go through the day with the satisfaction of knowing that it's probably the worst thing that will happen to you all day. Your frog is your biggest, most difficult, and most important task. You must develop the habit or routine of eating your frog before doing anything else and without spending too much time thinking about it. By using the Eat That Frog strategy, make a list the night before of all the tasks you need to do the next day. Once you start on the hardest task of the day, work steadily and focused until it's 100% complete. The most powerful technique for improving your intelligence and increasing your creativity is what I call mindstorming. The process is simple, and the results you'll get will be so astonishing that they'll change your life. All right, let's look into something, the process I call mindstorming, to unlock your creative potential and unearth innovative solutions to your goals or challenges. It begins with a simple yet profound step, articulating your goal or problem as a focused question at the top of a pristine sheet of paper. Remember, the clarity and specificity of your question will directly influence the caliber of answers you generate. For instance, instead of asking, how can I make more money? Pose a more targeted question like, how can I double my income in the next 24 months? Even better, if your current income stands at $100,000 annually, your question should reflect that precise figure. How can I earn $100,000 by the end of the year? Each of your responses must adhere to the 3P formula. They should be personal, positive, and articulated in the present tense. Essentially, frame your answers as empowering affirmations or directives from your conscious mind to your subconscious. With your question set at the helm, challenge yourself to generate a minimum of 20 answers. While you're certainly welcome to exceed this benchmark, committing to at least 20 responses is paramount to the effectiveness of this exercise. Initially, the first few answers may flow effortlessly. You'll quickly come up with answers like work harder, start earlier, stay later, work on higher value tasks. Your next 5 answers will be more difficult. You'll have to dig deeper and look for less obvious but more creative ways to answer your question. Your last 10 answers will be the most difficult of all. Many people find this part of the exercise so challenging that their minds go blank. Their eyes glaze over and they experience a rush of blood to their brain. As you start this process of mental lifting, however long it takes, especially the first few times you practice this exercise, you must discipline yourself to keep writing until you have at least 20 answers. Sometimes, the 20th answer you generate will be the revealing answer that allows you to save thousands of dollars and many hours of hard work. Often your last response is the inspired idea that completely changes your life and career. Once you have 20 answers, go back over your list and review your responses. Then select at least one action you can take immediately to start moving more quickly toward your goal or to solve the problem. You can multiply the effectiveness of this process by taking the best response you identify in the first list of 20 and writing it at the top of a new sheet of paper in a question form. Then, see if you can generate 20 answers to that question as well. This combined exercise will mentally stimulate you like stepping on the accelerator of a car while the transmission is in neutral. Your mind will shine and dance with mental energy and overflow. Then, you can begin to write down 20 different things you can do to save time, gain time, and devote an extra 2 hours to productive work each day. Whatever response you choose, put it into action immediately. Do something. The faster you take action in this exercise, the larger and more continuous the stream of ideas throughout the day will be. If you generate these ideas and then do nothing with them, the creative flow will slow down and stop. The best time to do this exercise is first thing in the morning, after you've rewritten your goals in your spiral notebook. Every morning, take one goal, rewrite it as a question, and generate 20 answers to that question. Then immediately get to work and implement one of your responses. You can repeat this exercise on the same goal if the goal is big and important enough to you. Don't worry about writing the same responses over and over again. The more you practice this exercise, the more likely you are to trigger completely unexpected breakthrough ideas. This may require several days or even weeks of work before the flash of inspiration occurs. You must be patient and determined. It will happen. As I mentioned earlier, successful people are intensely solution-oriented. The fact is that life is a continuous succession of endless problems and difficulty. This river of problems is only interrupted by the occasional crisis that makes the problem seem small in comparison, at least for a while. In fact, if you lead a busy life, you're likely to experience a crisis of some kind every 2 or 3 months throughout your life. Business crises, family crises, financial crises, health crises, and others. Problems and crises never stop. They keep coming like ocean waves. The only thing you can control is your responses to these problems and crises. And therein lies the key to your success. Remember this. You have the power to shape your destiny, to rewrite the script of your life, and to chart a course toward a future filled with purpose, passion, and possibility. So, before you allow another year to slip through your fingers, before you let fear, doubt, or complacency hold you back any longer, take a stand for yourself and your dreams. Take action today that your future self will thank you for. Commit to stepping out of your comfort zone, to embracing challenges as opportunities for growth, and to never settling for anything less than you deserve. With determination, perseverance, and unwavering belief in yourself, there's no limit to what you can achieve. Go forth with courage, go forth with conviction, and watch as the doors of opportunity swing wide open before you. Your time is now, your moment is here, and your destiny awaits. Don't waste another precious moment. Make this year the year you turn your dreams into reality. Are you tired of feeling like time is slipping through your fingers? Do you find yourself constantly overwhelmed by tasks, yet never truly accomplishing what matters most? If so, you're not alone. In today's fast-paced world, it's all too easy to fall into the trap of wasting precious time on activities that yield little to no value. But what if I told you that you have the power to reclaim control over your time and create a life filled with purpose and fulfillment? What if I showed you that by making a few simple changes, you could break free from the cycle of busyness and start living each day with intention and clarity? Today we embark on a journey to explore the art of time mastery, the art of stopping wasting your time and instead using it wisely to create the life you desire. From procrastination to distractions, we'll uncover the common pitfalls that rob us of our most valuable resource and learn how to overcome them. So, if you're ready to take back control of your time and unlock your full potential, join me as we discover the secrets to stopping wasting your time and start living with purpose, passion, and productivity. Everyone wants to be successful, and you achieve success by solving problems for other people. The bigger the problem, or the more often you solve it for more people, the more successful you'll be, you'll make more money, you'll be given more, you'll be happier, and so on. But you also succeed by solving problems for yourself. So, when faced with a setback or adversity, what you do is ask yourself, what can I do now? What is my next step? How can I solve this? What can I do more or less of? What should I start doing or stop doing? And the idea of simply giving up never occurs to you. That's off the table. The only thing being considered is how to deal with this, and you become intensely solution-oriented. I have taught complete half-day and full-day courses on how to learn problem-solving and decision-making. I have written books and audio programs about it because what we do in life from beginning to end is solve problems. If you look at your business card, you could take off any title it has and simply write problem solver, because your whole life, from dawn till dusk, you'll be solving problems. Small problems like running out of toothpaste at home, and big problems like a client canceling an order, among others. You spend your time solving problems and making decisions. The better you become at this, to the point where it becomes an automatic response, people will start coming to you and saying, look, I've got this problem, and you seem to solve problems as well. What can we do? So you ask questions. What exactly is the problem? How did it happen? When did it happen? Where did it happen? Who does it affect? What are the different solutions we can consider? And so on. I teach this all the time so that people, instead of reacting to a problem with anger or disappointment, respond constructively. They say, wait a minute, whatever it is, I can solve it. I just have to find a way to fix it. And soon it becomes automatic. They inhale, exhale, solve the problem, and it never occurs to them that they can't do it. It's just a matter of time. Many solutions don't work. Sometimes you'll have solutions that don't work at all, that are very costly or even fatal, and there's not much you can do about those things. But in general, most things can be resolved. I come from a poor background. My parents never had money. They were hard workers. My father was a carpenter, and my mother was a nurse. I left school without graduating and worked in manual jobs for several years. Then I got into sales when I couldn't find a manual job anymore, like most people in sales nowadays. And then I started asking myself a question that changed my life. And the question is, why are some people more successful than others? Why does this happen? I looked around and saw people who were 23 or 24 years younger than me, who were doing better than me, and they weren't smarter than me. Some of them were even less intelligent. One of the things I say is that nothing will infuriate you more than seeing someone who is less intelligent than you doing better. You wonder, how can this idiot be doing so well? And I started asking this question in sales. I began to ask myself, why are some salespeople more successful than others? And I did something that very few people do. I later found out that I went to the top salespeople and asked them why they were so successful, and they told me what they were doing. I did it and sold more. So people asked, how come you're making so many sales? So I told them, and they did it, and their sales went up. When I got into the business world, I asked managers, how do you run a business like this? How do you organize it? And they told me, and I did it. Therefore, one of the greatest principles of success you'll find is learning from the experts, learning from people who are already demonstrating the results you want to achieve. Read their books, listen to their programs, attend their courses, learn from them, and always they will tell you You can save yourself years of hard work just by learning from people who have already learned it themselves. My favorite word in life is clarity. The clearer you are about what you're trying to achieve, the faster you'll reach it. In fact, people with clear goals and plans and written ones, with priorities, achieve 10 times more in life than those without them. It's very simple. It's the 10 times factor. Make sure everyone working with you has crystal clear clarity about what their job is. Be clear about your top 3 most important tasks and help everyone else to have clarity about their top 3 most important tasks. This way, everyone will always be working on the 3 most important things they can do, and hire other people who can perform the task at a lower cost than your top people to free them up from small tasks so they can do the things that contribute most to your overall goals. That's the leader's task. Decide on your goals and your most important goal, and then each day start your day with a list. The best time to make a list is the night before, because when you make a list the night before for the next morning, all kinds of ideas for the list occur to you. It's like goals for the day. Then you look at your list and say, if I could only do one thing on this list, what activity, what task would I want to make sure I completed before leaving town? For a month, that becomes your most important task of the day. Now, the concept of eating the frog comes from a story where they say that if the first thing you do in the morning is to eat a live frog, you'll have the satisfaction of going through the day, knowing that probably the worst thing that could happen to you is eating a live frog. And the 2 corollaries of this principle are, if you have to eat 2 frogs, eat the ugliest one first. Now, the frog is your biggest task. It's the one you're most likely to procrastinate on. It's also the one that will have the biggest positive impact on your career if you do it now. So if you have 2 really important tasks, do the most important one first. We say do the worst first, do the biggest first. And the second corollary is that if you have to eat a frog anyway, it's not worth sitting and looking at it for too long. So what you do is you start with that task. When I've given this talk in corporations, they often come out and make bronze frogs for all their executives. The bronze frog is placed on the executive's desk, and when they get to work, the first thing they see is the frog. Or they place it on top of the plant, the first thing they see is the frog, and it reminds them to start and do the worst first, the task that has the biggest ramifications first. Then you discipline yourself to work focused on that task, no matter what happens. If you get distracted, you return to the task, like a gyroscope returning to center. You stay on that task because you've decided that everything else is a relative waste of time compared to this task. It doesn't mean it's a waste of time, but in relation to this task, everything else is secondary or worse. If you can do that and develop the habit of doing it, you'll double your productivity on the first day, and it will keep increasing for the rest of your career. You'll be so productive, you'll get more responsibilities, more opportunities. But here's the wonderful thing. Everyone wants to feel like winners. So how do you get the feeling of winning? Simple answer, you win. Well, how do you win? Well, you cross the finish line first. Now, fortunately, in life, what successful people do, and I learned this after many years, is so important. They set goals for themselves that they can't cross. So if you complete a task of some value, it's like winning a little, and you feel like a winner. You start, you work, you complete the task. Even if all you do is wash your car and clean the interior, you step back. You feel happy because when your brain releases endorphins, and endorphins are called nature's happy drug, and they make you feel happy, your self-esteem goes up, your self-confidence increases, and you feel happier and friendlier. You're actually a more charming person, believe it or not. When you set up a task and complete it, you feel like a winner, your endorphins go up, your self-esteem improves, and your self-confidence increases. Now, if you have a to-do list and choose to do your most important task and complete it, you experience an emotion called endorphin rush. Your brain releases endorphins that flood your system and make you feel euphoric. You almost laugh out loud. You're happy. Your heart rate goes up. You're smiling. Sometimes you stay and work late into the night to complete a task, and you do it at 2 or 3 in the morning, even though you should be exhausted. You're happy. You can't sleep. You walk around, watch TV because you feel great. So what winners do is recreate this feeling over and over until it becomes a habit. They recreate this feeling over and over until it becomes a positive addiction. Now, positive addiction is a very interesting topic. You can develop a negative addiction to an illegal drug, or you can develop a positive addiction to endorphin. Positive addictions are fueled by setting and completing important tasks. Tasks that play a significant role in your life. Some say you don't lose your spontaneity if you're always working on the main tasks. You're not happy all the time, and you're respected and appreciated by the people around you. You feel proud and have a positive self-image. People appreciate you and you earn more money. What's there to complain about? So, it's something very simple, and that's why the book transforms people's lives. It takes you from just being to being successful. Make a list, identify your most important task. Start with that, and stick with it until it's done. But world-class people have a much bigger vision of what's possible for them. One of the techniques I learned many years ago from an expert is called from X to 10X, which means imagining you could go from X, your current income, to 10 times X, 10 times your current income. And your first response to that is that it's completely absurd. There's no way I could increase my income 10 times, it's not possible. Then I'll ask the audience, is there any chance you could increase your income 10 times over your lifetime? Because there might be a chance of 1, and everybody will say, well, maybe, 1 chance in 1,000. Then I'll say, how many people here, since you took your first job until now, have already doubled their income? All hands go up, tripled it, most hands, quadrupled it, many hands. I'll say, so you've already doubled and tripled your income? All you need to do now is to do the same thing you did to double and triple your income. And you'll double and triple it again. And then you'll have to increase your income 10 times. And there are people all over the world who earn 10 times more than you. And they're no better or smarter than you. And what this does is expand your thinking, because most of us start to develop narrow thinking around our current income and then adjust our lives, adjust our appetites, the restaurants we go to, the food we eat, the house we live in, the clothes we wear, the car we drive. We force our entire world to fit our current income, while successful people create a vision. Here's an interesting point. Peter Drucker said that if you don't have a vision of being a world leader when you start your business at your kitchen table, you probably won't ever be very successful. So if you're starting your business at a kitchen table, imagine you could be a world leader, and then ask the question, if I were the world leader in my field, how would I be different from today? How would my company be different from today? We were talking about Steve Jobs and Apple Computer. Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak started in a garage with the idea of putting together parts and making a little Apple computer that people could have at home. Bill Gates of Microsoft started with the idea that if they could make it usable, you could have a PC on every desktop. Now, as we reflect on the visionary insights of leaders like Steve Jobs, we're reminded of the transformative power of taking that first bold step towards our aspirations. Jobs' audacious vision of a personal computer in every home revolutionized the way we live and work, despite initial skepticism from industry giants. Indeed, Jobs' relentless pursuit of innovation serves as a poignant reminder that greatness lies just beyond the confines of our comfort zones. As Brian Tracy aptly puts it, the first step is often the most daunting. It's the leap of faith that propels us out of familiar territory and into uncharted waters. Yet it's precisely this willingness to embrace discomfort that paves the way for exponential growth and boundless possibilities. Like a chick breaking free from its shell, each step forward builds momentum, fueling our confidence, creativity, and resilience. So, as we embark on our own journey of personal and professional development, let us heed the wisdom of visionaries like Jobs and Tracy. Let us embrace the discomfort of the unknown, take that pivotal first step towards our dreams, knowing that it is the catalyst for unleashing our full potential and reshaping our reality. And this is what sets successful people apart. They have a great idea of what is possible, and then they take the first step. When I started studying self-made millionaires in my 30s, because I realized that I had always wanted to be a millionaire but had never studied them, 8% of self-made millionaires, when asked how they became millionaires with all the competition, said hard work. Hard work is the most important thing, they said. That it's not a miracle that they weren't smarter, that they didn't get good grades, that they didn't come from a wealthy family, but that they were going to work harder than anyone else. And that was their basic personality. Anyway, work harder than anyone else. And I've never found an exception to that all over the world. In every language and culture, successful people work harder than the average person, and very hard. The average successful person works 6 days a week, 59 hours at the beginning of their career, sometimes 7 days a week and 80 hours, but the average is 59 hours, 6 days a week. I was listening to an interview with a very successful Hollywood entrepreneur, and the interviewer asked him, "What do you do on weekends or in your spare time?" He said after a pause, "I don't know any successful person who works less than 6 days a week." Everyone works on weekends. That's what successful people do. There are also long nights, and unfortunately, many people were never told that if they want to be successful, because everyone wants to be successful and no one is better or smarter than them, they have exactly the same skills. Just like you can drive a car, you can succeed, you can become rich. These wealthy people are people who simply worked harder than the average person and worked harder for a long time. All negativity in your life, all failures and frustrations, all negative emotions come from your lack of acceptance of responsibility. If you look at our political problems, our welfare, and our problems around the world today, you will find that at the heart of it are people who will not accept responsibility, blame someone or something else for their problems. And if you do that, you must first realize that it is not true. You are responsible for your own life. No one points a gun at your head and forces you to do or not do something. Accept responsibility. Don't blame other people. I teach my audience in my 2-day seminar to repeat, I am responsible, I am responsible, I am responsible, and to have absolutely no resentment, blame, anger towards anyone or anything else, because all it does is consume you. It devours you. So you will find that many people only think about other people who have hurt them or done them wrong and need to be punished, and so on. And you've already heard me talk about how never to think about other people in negative terms because it hurts you. It's like hitting yourself in the face with your own fist. As we draw this journey to a close, let us reflect on the profound insights we've uncovered and the transformative changes we've embraced. From the moment we set out, we confronted the pervasive habit of wasting time head on, determined to reclaim our most precious resource. Now, armed with newfound knowledge and empowered by actionable strategies, we stand on the threshold of a new beginning, a life where each moment is cherished and every action is purposeful. No longer will we allow the sands of time to slip through our fingers. Instead, we commit to seizing each day with intention and gratitude. But our journey does not end here. It is merely the beginning of a lifelong practice, a commitment to prioritizing what truly matters and living each day to the fullest. So as we bid farewell to old habits and welcome the dawn of a new era, let us carry with us the unwavering determination to stop wasting our time and start embracing the boundless opportunities that await. Thank you for joining me on this transformative journey. May your days be filled with purpose, productivity, and profound moments of joy as you continue to make the most of your time and create a life that truly reflects your deepest desires. Our goal setting has 7 steps. You can use these 7 steps for the rest of your life. Step number 1 is decide exactly what you want. Most people don't do that. Only the top 10% of people are absolutely clear about what they really, really want. What do you want financially? What do you want for your health? What do you want for your family? Be very clear. Be specific. Remember, your subconscious and your superconscious mind can only work to help you achieve a goal when the goal is clear. Step number 2 is write it down. Only 3% of adults have written goals, and everyone else works for them. Write it down. This is called a psychoneuromotor activity, where you actually write the goal down physically on paper, and it activates all your mental powers. It programs it into your hard drive, and then your subconscious works on it 24 hours a day until it's achieved. Once you write it down. Step number 3 is set a deadline. Set a very clear, specific target to aim at. This acts like a forcing system for your subconscious and your superconscious minds. And what it does is it motivates and drives you forward to achieve that goal. So, set a deadline. If it's a big enough goal, set sub-deadlines and break it down into parts and then keep thinking about the deadline. Step number 4 is make a list. Make a list of everything that you could think of that you could do to achieve that goal. And keep writing until the list is complete. If you think of something new, write it on the list. There's something wonderful about breaking things down onto a list. Henry Ford once said the biggest goal in the world can be achieved if you just break it down into enough small steps. Some people ask the question, how do you eat an elephant? And the answer, of course, is 1 bite at a time, but you've got to divide it into bites. Step number 5 is to organize the list. How do you organize the list? You organize it 2 ways. First, by sequence, what is the order in which you have to do things? And second of all, by priority, what is more important, what is less important? What is less important? And remember the 80-20 rule. The first 20 of things you do in the achievement of a goal usually account for 80s of the results that you get. Now you have a goal broken down by sequence and priority, and you have a plan. A person with a goal and a plan can accomplish extraordinary things, sometimes beyond their imagination. Step number 6 is to take action. Do something, move quickly, do something immediately to achieve your goal. And step number 7, and this is the great one, do something every day. Do something every day that moves you towards your most important goal, whatever it happens to be. So here's the exercise, and this is what's going to make it all come to life for you. What you do is you make a list of 10 goals that you would like to achieve in the next year or so. Write them down on a piece of paper. This may take you about 3 to 5 minutes, but it could change your life. Then you look over your list of goals, and you say, if I could only achieve one goal on this list, which one goal would have the greatest positive impact on your life? Now, whatever that goal is, put a circle around it. This becomes your major definite purpose. This becomes your focal point. This becomes your point of concentration. Now you can work on the other goals on the side, but this becomes the goal. And you do something all the time on this goal. You write it on a clean sheet of paper. You set a deadline. You make a list of everything you could do to achieve the goal. You organize the list by sequence and priority. You do something immediately, and then you do something immediately, and then you do something every day. When you wake up in the morning, you think about the goal. And all day long, you think about the goal. Yeah. And I can promise you this, if you follow the 7-part process, plus the 10 goal list, plus the selection of one key goal, your life will change in the most profound ways. You will start to make progress that's completely beyond your current imagination. Write out your goals. All goals have to be in writing, by the way. If you don't have your goals in writing, then they're not really goals at all. They're merely wishes. And to say a wish is merely a goal without any energy behind it. Have your goals in writing. Write them out very specifically and clearly. And then do this every single morning. Rewrite your major goals in the first person, singular, as though they already existed. Rewrite your major goals every single morning. Now, this should take you about 2 to 4 minutes, maybe 5. And you can do it all in a paragraph. For instance, if your goal is to earn $50,000 a year every single morning, right? I earn $50,000 a year. If your goal is to be excellent in real estate, say, I am an excellent salesperson in my field. If your goal is to weigh a certain number of pounds, if your goal is to enjoy a certain kind of life, write down your major goals in the first person singular as though they already existed today, every single morning. And then every single evening, take about 5 to 10 minutes instead of watching television. Just before you turn on the television, say, wait a second, I've got to review my progress. Sit down and review what you've done in the course of the day and say, what have I done right today? What have I done right? That's moved me toward my goals. The second question is, what would I do differently if I had today to do over again? Those 4 steps, by the way, include rewriting your goal each morning, reviewing them in the evening, and asking yourself those 2 questions. What did I do right? What did I do that moved me toward my goals today? And what would I do differently if I had the day to live over? If you'll ask yourself those 2 questions in the next 30 days, you'll accomplish more than you accomplished in the last 6 months. This is the most incredible method I've ever seen. I learned it some years ago. Just rewrite your goals every morning, because every time you write your goals down, you're programming them into your subconscious mind. When you program them into your subconscious mind, you set up a field of vibration within your brain, and this law of attraction, based on this field of vibration, attracts into your life people and circumstances that harmonize with your dominant thoughts. Everybody here has had the experience of starting to read about a subject, think about a subject, become interested in a subject, and suddenly you started to attract into your life books, magazines, articles, conversations, people, opportunities to expand on that subject. If you've had that experience before, What you do is you create a force field which we cannot explain scientifically, but it is a field of vibration that goes out from you. It tracks back into your life everything that you need to realize your dominant goals. And everybody's had the experience of writing down their goals at the beginning of the year and opening up the envelope at the end of the year and finding that 80 of the goals have been accomplished. Have you ever had that experience? Absolutely remarkable, isn't it? The only problem with goals is that we don't set enough of them, and we don't set them highly enough. You can have anything you want. Imagine you could have anything that you want. Anything that you can hold in your mind on a continuing basis. You can have anything that you are crystal clear about wanting and are willing to pay the price to get. You can have. So clarity is the key. Be clear about what you want. Be clear about what you have to do to get it. Be clear about your vision. Be clear about your vision. Be clear, speak, walk, talk, and act the last thing before you sleep, the first thing in the morning. Think about and visualize your goals as reality. See your goal as though it already existed. Your subconscious mind is only activated by affirmations and pictures that are received in the present tense. So see your goal vividly just before you go to sleep. See yourself performing at your best. See the situations that you're facing working out exactly the way you want them to. Especially see yourself living the kind of life that you want to live. See yourself in the kind of relationships, the kind of health, the kind of car, the kind of home you really want. Visualize just before you fall asleep at night, and the first thing you do when you get up in the morning is to feed yourself mental picture. These are the 2 times of the day when your subconscious mind is most receptive to new programming. Just before you fall asleep and just when you wake up. Well, the law of cause and effect is very simple. What is the cause? It's your belief, your absolute clarity about the goal that you want. What is the effect? It's the goal coming into your life. The law of beliefs is what you believe in. You believe that you must ultimately achieve this goal unswervingly. And that belief creates your reality because you begin to see the whole world different. The law of expectation. You confidently expect that everything that happens is part of a plan to help bring you towards your goal. The law of attraction. What do you attract? You attract people, ideas, and circumstances into your life to help you achieve your most important goal. The law of subconscious. The law of correspondence. Your outer world corresponds to your inner world of goal setting. The law of subconscious activity. You continually program your subconscious mind with a clear picture of your goal, and your subconscious mind arranges all your words and actions so that they fit a pattern consistent with achieving that goal. And the law of habit is that you think about your goal repeatedly over and over again until it becomes a habit to wake up in the morning and think all day about your goal. So all you need to do to raise your self-confidence, your self-esteem, and your level of attainment high is to have an absolutely crystal clear goal and work on it every single day. Now here are 2 things that you can do all day long to keep your mind and emotions focused on your goals and financial success. First, listen to audio programs in your car when you drive around. Continue feeding your mind with a steady stream of high-quality educational, motivational material that moves you towards your goal. Sometimes one idea you hear on an audio program can change your life. 2. Imagine no limitations. When you look at life, the starting point of setting goals is for you to throw off all your mental limitations and let your mind roam freely across the entire universe of possibilities. Your primary job at the beginning is to allow yourself to dream big dreams and then determine exactly what it is that you want out of life in every area and in every dimension. Decide what's right before you decide what's possible. Imagine that you could be or have or do virtually anything that you really want to as long as you know exactly what it is first. Make up a dream list. Temporarily imagine that you have no limitations of time, money, knowledge, contacts, experience, or education. Imagine that anything you can write down is possible for you. Remember, anything that you can clearly define and crystallize on paper is possibly possible if you want it long enough and hard enough. And if you're willing to make whatever efforts and sacrifices are necessary. There are no unrealistic goals. As we say, only unrealistic timeline. The very act of writing your goals down sets the whole universe to work in your favor and activates all the mental laws to help you. In fact, many people have had the experience of writing out a list of goals on New Year's Day, putting the list away and not referring to it again till the end of the year, and then finding at the end of the year that 80% of the goals have been achieved, sometimes in the most amazing ways. The very act of writing big, challenging goals causes three things to happen. First, your self-concept improves and your self-confidence goes up immediately just by writing down some big goals. The act of setting goals requires self-confidence and simultaneously builds self-confidence. Having the courage to write down what you really want improves your self-image and raises your self-esteem. The action itself generates a feeling of greater personal power and ability. Second, when you write down goals, you tap into your mental and emotional powers. Goal setting actually gives you a burst of physical and mental energy. Your heart rate and your respiratory rate speed up. The very act of goal setting is inherently exciting. Sometimes we say we're feeling listless. Make a list. It's true. It's like stepping on the accelerator of your own mental and physical potential. And if you do this every day, write your goals down over and over, the results can be amazing. Finally, commit your goals to paper. The very fact that you have committed a goal to paper dramatically increases the likelihood that you will achieve that goal. Your mind is structured in such a way that you cannot write down a goal clearly on paper without simultaneously having the ability to somehow attain it. The most important question is always, how badly do you want it? And here's an interesting discovery. There's a miracle that takes place between the head and the hand. It's when you write something down, psychoneuromotor activity. It actually helps you to understand it with greater clarity. It stimulates creativity, enables you to see it. The fact is that becoming a goal setter, so you're right, setting and working on goals all the time increases your likelihood of success by 10 times. Fact is, the very act of setting goals, writing them down dramatically increases the likelihood of you achieving them. It gives you tremendous clarity, and it also activates a whole series of other powers that you don't know about. Your ability to set goals and to make plans for their accomplishment is the master skill of success. This ability, developed through practice, will do more to assure your eventual success than anything else you ever learn. The 10-90 rule says that the first 10% of time that you spend planning and organizing will often account for 90% of the value of the entire process. So here's a powerful but simple method for setting and achieving goals that I've learned over the years. First, decide exactly what you want. Clarity is the starting point of great success. And second, write it down in detail and set deadlines. Set some deadlines if necessary. Third, determine the additional knowledge, skills, and abilities you will need to achieve your goal and how you're going to acquire them. Fourth, determine the obstacles and difficulties that you will have to overcome to achieve your goal and organize them in the order of size and importance. The fifth key to goal setting is to determine the people and groups and organizations whose help you will require and decide what you will have to do for them to earn their assistance. And sixth, make a detailed plan, broken down by activity, organized by priority and sequence. What is most important? What must be done first? What must be done before something else is done? And seventh, perhaps the most important, is to take action on your plan immediately. Do something every day to move you toward your most important goal. Get going and keep going and keep going. At each stage of your life, whenever you're confronted with the need to make new choices, to set new goals, sit down and think through them using these 7 steps. Always think on paper and always be willing to revise your plans when you get new information. Keep working on your plans until they're complete and then execute them boldly. Psychologists recently have concluded, when I started teaching 25 years ago, that as you feel yourself moving towards something that is important to you, your self-esteem and self-confidence go up. You feel happy. You feel powerful. You feel strong. You feel a surge of energy and elation. You're more creative. All of your best qualities emerge. How do you blot out all the negatives in your life? You think about your goal. Whenever, say, you think of something that makes you unhappy or negative, you swing your thoughts, often like a searchlight, and you think about your goal, and you talk about your goal, and you work on your goal, and you work on your goal, because your mind can only hold one thought at a time. And if you're totally determined to achieve a single goal, and you think about it, and work on it every day, eventually all the other things will fall away.